This is a 16-inch barreled James River Armory Polish AKM chambered in 7.62 by 39. This is the laminated version of the rifle, which I must admit looks great.
Brandon, I can't believe you'd start without me, man. I wanted to be here for this.
Oh, hey, Matt, how are you?
What's up, man? I mean, she's a beauty, isn't she? So, man, James River is just a fantastic company. We've worked with them for a really long time, and they've really got their business going where they basically restore or rebuild surplus out of parts kits. And this is a great example. I mean, just so beautiful. The Polish adopted the AKM rifle from Russia during the time they were under Russian, political influence. And I just love the fact that it's a Polish-made AKM platform, like very standardized, like the Romanian or Russian rifles. This rifle came to the U.S. as a Polish parts kit, so it has matching front trunnion and bolt carrier and bolts. But then you have so many parts that are replaced by American parts, like the receiver, barrel. Some of the other parts are going to be original Polish, like the furniture. And I really think that gives it a really great characteristic. Now, what's really cool is, again, all the parts that really interact with each other to make the rifle work are those original Polish-made forged parts, just like you'd see in a military rifle.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So this thing is just as close as we can really kind of get to an original Polish service rifle. There are limited imports of Polish rifles, things like Beryl and the Archer over time, but a lot of those things, they kind of come and go. So it's really exciting to be able to have this here with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, I will kind of Vanna White this a little bit, and we're going to start with the tip up here and just kind of go down and describe kind of what the gun is about. Since you're here, might as well use you.
Absolutely.
All right, starting up front.
So we have a standard 45-degree compensator. So, obviously most recoil for right-handed shooters is going to go up and to the right. So this is canted to push it back down and to the left. It does wreak havoc a little bit with us left-handed people because it's going the wrong way, but it's a very effective compensator, even though it's very simple. A standard front sight, so it's adjustable for elevation through the front sight post can be screwed up and down, and then you can actually drift this barrel here left and right for windage.
Oh, that one I didn't actually know.
We have a cleaning rod. I think no AK looks complete without the cleaning rod, although it's of questionable utility unless you're stuck in the field somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up.
So we have the Handguard. Now, so the great thing about the Polish Handguard is it does have palm swells, and so it really does fit the hand well. And these original wood stocks feel really great. There's a very tactile sense when you're holding the rifle. So you have the rear sight. So this is adjustable for elevation. Now keep in mind that because this is coming from Europe, it's not going to be in yards like we're used to. It's going to be in meters, or if you go far enough back with some of those Russian sights, even Arshins and things like that. But unfortunately, not adjustable for windage on this variation.
Fair enough.
So down here, we have the trigger guard. Above that, of course, we have the fire control unit. So that's the trigger, hammer, disconnector. It's one of those things where I think the AKs have fantastic triggers. It's a very crisp sense of trigger pull. Now, you do have to sometimes worry about that trigger slap where the trigger forces itself forward against your finger. But certainly, I do not think that I've ever had a problem with it. Some people have described it as being painful, and I think those people just need to shoot their gun a little bit more.
Well, let's give an example of what that trigger pull would sound like.
We can pull back. There's a little take up, very little take up, and then you hear that very crisp snap.
And on the reset?
So there is some travel there, but it's a very affirmative reset. Like you hear it, you feel it, it's when the trigger's resetting.
Oh yeah, and then just one more pull for kicks and giggles. Wow, that is very little travel.
Very
That's
little
almost
travel.
Surprising.
And that has to do with the interaction between, like kind of the sear surface of the trigger and the hammer. So unlike an AR where there's a separate sear and trigger, the sear surface is just part of the trigger on this, and so there's a direct connection. So very little interaction has to happen.
Absolutely, and I do notice on the front we do also have kind of a standard safety.
Yep, that's right. So all the way up is safe, all the way down is fire. If this was an original select fire rifle, full auto would be right there in the middle. But again, it's a big honking safety lever, very easy to manipulate because it's designed for simplicity, which is fantastic. Now you can see that it's an unfinished bolt carrier. So again, it's an original forged part from Poland, but it's got a very cool look when it has that silver bolt carrier against the black of the rifle.
And then finally?
And then finally the butt stock, which is probably one of the times that you see how beautiful this laminate stock is, right? You see all the striations and different colors of wood. We do have variations of this that have hardwood, so it'd have a more typical grain, but I just love the appearance of the laminate stock.
Fair enough, fair enough. One thing we didn't mention is that there is a sling mount on the left side here and one on the back as well. And then I think you had one other thing?
Yeah, so I also want to highlight the fact that this does have a bayonet lug. I mean, certainly not necessarily the most utilitarian feature for most people, but it's really cool to have that original feature.
In conclusion, James River Armory has created a beautiful looking semi-automatic laminated AK-47 with all of the furniture that you're going to need to run it right out of the box.
And I think it's a gorgeous example of an AKM. So, I'm a huge proponent of this. One of the great parts is that since it does take standard AKM furniture, you can swap it out with your Romanian, Polish, Chinese furniture. All those things are going to interchange. If you find aftermarket stuff, it may take a little fitting, but it's just fantastic to be able to have all those available options out there.
If you guys have any experiences with the JRA Polish AK, please feel free to leave a review down below. We would love to see your comments. That is all we have for you today.
God bless.
It is time to end.